It's 7:01. Call the meeting to order. So Mark Pasamato was out sick tonight. I'll be filling in his chair. First item on the agenda is approval of the January 4th minutes. Has everyone had a chance to go through them?
Yeah.
And, are there any edits or comments or changes?
No, I
Okay.
thought they were great.
Likewise. So if that's the case, is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So
So
moved.
moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. No public hearings. That hasn't happened in a
Scary.
while. Yeah. All right. Newer continued business. Request for a COC on 5 Nathanstone Lane.
So I see they're here. Let me just move them in.
Hey everyone, Zoe from Goddard Consulting representing the applicant Nick.
Evening.
So
Okay.
just as Nick's here with us as well.
Oh.
So I can provide a summary if you'd like.
That would be great. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Yeah, so we submitted a request for a certificate of compliance back in August for this lawn expansion project. And since then, there was comments that we needed to address. So we had submitted a response to those comments with a site plan. And then after that, there was a peer review letter that we recently received. And off of that, out of all the comments, we pretty much agree upon. There was 3 that maybe need to be addressed. And the reason why we didn't come to the last hearing, because there was just a few remaining items, one being a request for a vernal pool observation form, an updated form that showed the species that was observed. They wanted, for some reason, the form that was submitted originally didn't show the species, so we did go ahead and submit that. There was also a revision to the site plan showing all 33 plants that are out there, and showing those in front of the fence. If you'd like, actually, I should probably pull up the site plan.
Yeah, that would be great if you could share your screen.
Oh, hold on. I think I didn't turn it on. That might be my bad. Hold on one sec. All right, you should be able to if you couldn't before.
Thank you. Okay, can everyone see the site plan?
Mhm.
All right. So it was for the lawn expansion project. There was an existing deck on the back. There was some work done that was outside of the approved work, which the applicant is requesting to be approved as a deviation as part of this request for a certificate of compliance, which is this patio that was expanded outside of the original deck footprints. That was one of the changes that needed to be made to the plans during the revisions. And then back to what I was saying before about the LEC, or the Lucas Environmental, comments that we received. The last comment was regarding a portion in the rear of the by the grading that was it was essentially bare vegetation. There was no erosion apparent. They just recommended that the area be reseeded in the spring, which we agree for that. And we would ask that be added as a condition to do that in the spring. Other than that, I think everything else has been addressed, but I'm happy to answer any remaining questions.
So I'm sorry, there's an area that's where the vegetation didn't established to begin with. Do I understand that right?
Yeah, they had said, they specifically said a portion of the graded slope at the rear of the yard remains bare vegetation. To be honest, I haven't been to the site in a while and they didn't provide any photos, but I think the applicant knows the area that he's talking, that they might be talking about.
Yeah, that was just an area that some of the grass has died since
Okay.
we seeded it, so we just got to reseed it in the springtime.
Okay. And I'm just curious, is the COC being sought to allow a real estate transaction of some sort? Is there, is that driving sort of a sense of urgency here, to allow a sale of the property or something like that?
No, we're not looking to sell the property anytime soon.
Okay, no, oftentimes we'll get a request for a certificate of completion, just that needs to be closed out in order to allow a closing or something like that. I want to.
No, yeah, just it's been open for a while, so I think we've met all the requirements, so just want to close it out. So
Understood. Thank you. Are there, well, first, Melissa, anything to add?
Oh, I think Zoe kind of covered it, the most of it, or the majority of it, in terms of it's really just that bare spot in the back. So the erosion controls were still in place as well, but if they're going to be reseeding, then the erosion controls in that area should stay. So it's up to you guys what path you want to take in terms of either conditioning or wait until it's seeded, and then issuing it in the spring.
To rough terms, roughly how big is the area that
it's not very big. It's like maybe, I'd say maybe like 2 feet by 2 feet, or maybe 3 feet by 3 feet, something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's not
okay.
it's not a huge area.
Okay. I mean, we typically look for 80% ground cover.
I'd say holistically.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah. Okay. That gives me some comfort. Any questions, comments, concerns from commissioners? Okay, not hearing any. You know what? I haven't pulled up the list of attendees. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this, please just use the raise hand function and we'll promote you up so you can do that. Doesn't look like there is. All right, if that's the case, it does sound like we're ready to issue a certificate of compliance. It be issued with the, I guess, the condition that that small remaining area be reseeded in the springtime. I mean, it's such a small area. I doubt it will present much of a problem getting it to establish in the springtime. And with that, would somebody like to make a motion to that effect?
Do you want me to have any review of it? Do you want for final sign off after the seeding to be reviewed by the agent? Just to make sure those erosion controls are out as well.
Actually, yeah, just to, so I guess the second condition would just be that the erosion controls would just remain in place until that vegetation establishes. But from a paperwork standpoint, we can get you taken care of tonight, and then Melissa will come out for a final review just sometime in the springtime. If you could just give her a call, and but we can get the COC issued for you. We can both issue it tonight.
Just for my clarity, does it need to be fully grown, or when I seed it, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Ben. No, it's when it's get a little bit of a growth, let me know. Basically when it has some growth, after you give it a couple weeks after you seed it.
Okay.
Just send me an email or a phone call and I can take a swing by.
Okay.
Okay, so with those two conditions, would somebody like to make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay,
Melinda.
Zulik,
Yes.
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith.
yes. All right. Thank you very much for coming in tonight. And Melissa, that's typically ready to go, by
We'll have
Monday?
it, we'll email it over to both of you probably tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Next up, continuing on the mitigation plan for 90 Deerfoot Road, the encroachment into the 20-foot no touch.
Hey there, Commission.
Good evening.
So it's Mitch with Goddard Consulting. So we're here to show you guys the updated mitigation planting plan for 90 Deerfoot Road. There was a few comments last time just to add a couple of boulders, tighten up the bulkhead access area, and I believe that was it. So I'll just share my screen quick and you guys can check it out. You guys see that?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so this is the area you guys requested a few plan edits. So we added a couple of these boulders shown in purple. So that's so that whatever future homeowner goes there isn't mowing the lawn in there. The rocks will be placed there to kind of say, hey, don't, maintain this area as if it's lawn. And then this access area has just been restricted to accessing the bulkhead from the backyard. So we took away the access from the side yard over here. So those are the revisions.
Okay, thank you. Melissa, any developments on your end since we last met?
Nope, no developments. I think it's really what we discussed at the last meeting. They tightened it in pretty good. And then in terms of plantings, just if you want to specify if they're the straight native species,
Right.
that would kind of be the only recommendation.
Okay, and you were, Mitch, you were going to look into that, into the plantings. Are they cultivars? Are they natives?
So Melissa at the last meeting said there were cultivars based on the planting sheet. So I think it's worth, when they do these plantings, to send Melissa maybe the draft invoice for whatever new plants that they're gonna install. That way she can verify those, and then we can take a look at the plantings that were already placed in there and see if they are indeed cultivars or not, and talk with Melissa and see if she wants them replaced in any spots.
Yeah, if the commission wants to discuss that now, I think if the invoice that was sent with the COC request are the plants that were planted, then they are cultivars. They do have those kind of nicknames in there. So if the commission wants those replaced, that might be something that you guys want to discuss and vote on now, or you don't have to vote, but at least make that decision.
Okay, I guess from my perspective, certainly anything within the no touch. I just don't feel comfortable with the cultivar species. It's I think we had called for natives in the order of conditions. Any feeling on that from other commissioners?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So is that you're okay with the existing ones, or you want the existing ones replaced because they are cultivars that were planted? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if there are, certainly within the 20-foot, if there are cultivars that were planted within the 20-foot.
Okay, I think all of them are outside. I think the original ones were outside. They were along the 20-foot, but not
Okay.
within.
The original order of conditions called for native throughout the buffer zone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, this is something we require of all applicants. That plantings, especially when they're conditioned, they need to be native species within the buffer zone. And it looks like, yeah, many of the plantings were done outside of the buffer zone. Is that correct? Oh no, that's
So there was two dogwood species planted here along that 20-foot buffer.
Yeah.
This was a blueberry. And then we have another blueberry just outside the 20-foot. And then we had another blueberry over here, and then 2 flowering dogwoods placed over here.
The blueberries are, they're cultivars.
Let me open up the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see if I can pull up the invoice.
It was. You have it.
So
Oh,
here's
perfect.
our planting list. So we had the blueberries. So this is the correct Latin name for blueberry, Vaccinium corymbosum. And then
Yeah, so anything with the quotes, that
Yeah.
means it's a cultivar.
Okay. A
so
cultivar.
sometimes, generally you're right, Melissa. Sometimes I do see them put those quotes on just for marketing purposes too. So it is kind of tough to find nurseries that aren't putting those, names on red maples and, red glory or stuff like that. But if we can talk to Cavicchio and see if they have any that they can consider cultivars and work with them to get.
I was just gonna say, I'll find out, and anything that wasn't a native will just swap out.
Okay, because there are local nurseries that do have the straight natives.
Yeah.
You know, if you need assistance, I'm happy to provide some that I know have some offerings.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them first. If these aren't natives and they don't have the natives, I'll reach out to you, and maybe I'll have you send me that list.
Okay, fantastic. So, everyone on the commission on board with this? So the plantings within the buffer zone that are found to be non-native will be replaced with natives, and all new plantings done as mitigation here will also be straight native species.
Yes.
And I think the rest of the plan changes are right in line with our discussion from last time, I believe. Does anyone have any further questions, comments, concerns? Okay. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this matter, please use the raise hand function and we'll promote you up so that you can do that. Does not look like anyone wants to. So with that, I guess this is an administrative approval of the changes proposed in the plan and discussed this evening. Would somebody like to make a motion to grant that administrative approval as discussed?
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Thanks.
Zulik,
Yes.
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Commission.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay, next up is 38 Presidential. Is there anything? I don't think there's a lot going on there. I go by every couple of days.
There's not a lot, but I did speak with the homeowners, and they actually have contracted with a surveying company. So they are having their property and their wetlands actually surveyed. So they are waiting for that. They're hoping to get the submittal in for March. So one thing that I've kind of been talking to them about, as I do most property owners that I speak with in terms of, education about our laws, is that my recommendation is always think of what you're going to do in the next 5 years. Our permit is valid for 3, but we often or almost always offer extensions, you know, and 2 is usually the most common. And, you know, in order to kind of streamline and be most cost effective for yourselves, in terms of engineering plans, submission requirements, fees, put all of that into one plan, and then that way you only have to go through the process once. So I think they really took that into consideration, both for the requirements under the violation and some other items that they want to do in terms of that spot filling and a play structure, etc. So all of that is going to be demonstrated on a plan into an application in front of us. So I think things are actually turning out a little bit better than we had originally planned. You know, we were trying to work with them. So I think we made some good progress there, and I'm hopeful of what that will look like. So I'll keep working with them, but that's where we are for now.
Great. Fantastic. Yeah, no, I recall most of the work was going to take place in the spring once things have thawed out a little bit. Let's see, have we had any news or further development on the 84 Main covenant?
Yeah, so I think John Deli Pascoli had some miscommunication with his representative, so he was kind of unsure of where we were in the process. So I talked with him after the last meeting for a little bit and kind of discussed where the commission was and what the next steps would be. So I told him, you know, the general area was fine by the commission. So he is ensuring that his engineer is finalizing the final as-built. And I also talked about how the next steps would be amending that covenant. And we would request that that he provide the meat and potatoes mostly, or the hard work of providing that language so that our town council should review it. So I think he's taking that into consideration. I don't know if he's made that first step to try and start that draft yet. But I would expect I have another update for the next meeting. I think the last time I talked, they were just waiting for one thing for the surveyor to finish the as-built. So that should be completed based on my knowledge. So hopefully we have some better updates for that.
Okay, great. I know they've also been working with the Historical Commission on another issue on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any news on the farm management plan at Chestnut Hill Farm? I know we gave them some feedback, and they put together some proposed language that looked great.
Yeah, so
final document.
Ironically, the one thing that we were missing, I talked with the trustees, was the follow-up from the open space comments. So I talked with Freddie, and she was going to get that to us for our February 15th meeting. They're doing the winter sow tonight, so she didn't have the time to finish that. But
yes, and I will say, yeah, so Freddie is also the consultant to the Community Preservation Committee. And when the committee's a little bit crazy, Freddie is just so unbelievably overworked. So I know she's been very pressed for time with all that she's been doing for us. Okay, so it sounds like we can finally, I shouldn't even say it out loud, but maybe get this put to rest at our next meeting. There's at least a chance of it. Standard conditions. I suspect there aren't really any new developments, but with Mark not here, I don't know that we can really make any headway on that. I think it's important for him to be a part of the discussion. Yep. All right, and next you are up, Melissa.
So I will take this as fast as I can to the rest of our little agenda here. Update on open and active sites, not really much going on. 5 Corderville is well underway. You know, they're doing a good job keeping the sediment within the site. They are cranking. I think their framing is pretty much almost done. I know they had some new lumber dropped off. All the other sites are just kind of kicking around because of the weather. They're still going. You know, the weather's been pretty good, even though it's been a little crappy in general. But that's kind of the general sites. In terms of Breakneck Hill, the farm dump, that's probably been the most stressful. So the lowest bidder, Cape Cod Builders, has submitted a bid protest request to the Attorney General's office. They did schedule a hearing, and that is actually tomorrow at 11 a.m., thankfully on Teams, so I don't have to go into Boston. But myself and Liz Leiden from Town Council will be at this hearing with Cape Cod Builders. So their basis for the bid protest is that we didn't choose them, you know, and they were $400,000 less. But in our findings, they were not qualified to do this job. They had no experience in this kind of work. And the one project that they did list as similar was actually not what the project was. I found that they falsified that information and falsified some other information on their bid. So I expect tomorrow to go in our favor so we can get this started. I will definitely let you know as soon as possible. You know, town council isn't concerned. That's kind of where we are right now. So we can't award the bid until the AG makes their decision. I'm not sure if I get that in the hearing or afterwards. So hopefully we have some indication. But at least that's moving fast. So I should have a good idea of where we are next week.
And the bid selection, is in the ward ultimately will be done by the selectmen, correct?
Yeah, so the select board did vote to award the bid, but we can't have the contract fully signed until the AG bid protest is over.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, all the pieces are in line. It's just getting over this little speed bump. I expect it to be fine, especially the more information they submit to us and the AG, the more false information I find. So it's getting a little dicey. But
Yeah.
that's breakneck. So hopefully, you know, and the person that was awarded the bid is aware that this is happening, so they know the time delay.
Are any members of BOS going to be on the team's meeting with you, or is it just you and the town council?
Just myself and town council as far as I'm aware.
All right, well,
Yeah.
good luck. I'll be
Thanks.
thinking about you.
Yeah, I'm a nervous Nelly, so I'm a little anxious. Hopefully I just have
Yeah.
to sit there and be quiet and wait my turn, but
Right.
we'll hope for the best. I'll keep you, you know, if I know anything afterwards, I'll send an email out. That's at 11. So I'm not sure how long it'll be, but
Okay. Okay.
that is breakneck. Any questions on that? I know that was a lot to just kind of throw at you. Okay. In terms of goals, I just kind of wanted to, we don't have to have a discussion, but just wanted to let you know, in looking through the open space and master plan goals, they're the same as the ones we didn't complete last year. So I've kind of carried those over, but added some additional ones based on kind of conversations that we've had recently, or a lot are more office-based. So just kind of want to make you aware. One thing that myself and Laura, I think we'll hopefully have in place for the next meeting is we're trying to make either a OneDrive or a SharePoint that will have meeting information continuously. So instead of the Dropbox where the information will change, you'll be able to access both meeting date information, and we're going to have it so that the filings are there too. So you will be able to at any time go back and access the approved plans, the decision, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So it will always be current and it will always be there. So even the meeting information, you know, like all of things for tonight, how we put those together for the meeting packet will remain in that folder for that date. But then we will have the separate ones that have it by, you know, DEP file number with the address so that you can always go back and look. I think that will help increase the accessibility. I'll also add like the open space stuff and anything else you guys want in there. You know, it's for you. So as we get it up and running, let us know if there's other things that could be useful for you. It makes it a little bit easier because we can add and remove commissioners as they change, and it'll provide a lot more to you with a lot more storage, so we can keep things on there.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
I hope that will be helpful. I know that's something that, you know, you guys struggle with sometimes, going around town and not having what the final plans are. We haven't had like the ability to have a storage big enough to, you know, be able to give you something, but I think we found a way. So it'll be a little bit of troubleshooting in the beginning. But you know, hopefully it's long-term success. So that's probably the number one thing that we're going to be getting done. And then kind of finalizing our migration of permits to our online permitting system so that, you know, building permits, ZBA decisions, Concom decisions, everything is now in one area. So if you search your address, you'll be able to see everything historically. We're having new applications that are coming in or being submitted via Viewpoint 2. So we've started that kind of process, and hopefully that can continue, and it's a little difficult to get historic things on, but we're trying to find a way through that. And then, you know, just kind of the other aspects are the Wetlands Protection Act changes have come. I sent that link. It has the recordings of some of the the information sessions in the PowerPoint section, you know, the coastal regulation changes aren't applicable to us because we don't have coastal. The stormwater ones, you know, seem pretty consistent with what we've tried to do with our stormwater bylaw. So it's making it compliant with our MS4 permit, our municipal stormwater permit, and just kind of beefing up some of the calculations in terms of total suspended solids and things like that. So I highly recommend going through the stormwater PowerPoint. That seems like a pretty good resource. And if you have questions, you know, I'm happy to work through it with you. I'm still digesting it a little bit. But that's, you know, we'll have to make sure our local bylaw will still be in compliance with any of those changes as well, which might need a little bit of tweaking. So we'll just kind of keep on taps with that. But that's kind of the basics of the goals and the WPA revisions in a nutshell.
All right, this is a new record. My goodness.
I'm 2 minutes over. I told myself 30 minutes, but
Oh, we started at 7:01, so it's only been 31 minutes. This is
I'm gonna blame Mark for our long meetings now.
This was boy, having no public hearings. I think this is the first time in 9 or 10 years for me that this has happened. I don't remember
yeah, I
another-
think we had one meeting like 6 months ago where you guys didn't have public hearings, but I tortured you with a training. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So it was like you still had work.
So I guess that's it. So all we need is a motion to adjourn
So moved.
in a second.
Second.
And Zulik,
Yes.
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Wait, can I ask a question? I thought you said the meetings were gonna be getting longer, and I saw you sent a note about a lot of the 40B stuff being delayed. Do we have a timeline on that or no?
Yeah, so well, no, I guess it won't be anytime soon.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Is it like,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it months? Is it like 3 months, 6 months? Like,
No, at least a year.
Oh,
Oh,
for
I
both
think.
projects?
I mean, Laura, please. If I'm what is
I don't know. I went like this, and then the
and
balloon.
balloons came out.
I don't know.
so this is more than just Park Central?
So yes. Oh yeah. 120 Turnpike. I might not have sent an email about this. I'm horrible. So 120 Turnpike is the property that abuts Breakneck Hill. So they have to go back to planning and have their site plans amended that had the requirement of that parcel to be donated or have a conservation restriction on it because they were going to put a parking garage there. So because that condition is recorded, they have to get it amended.
Now, that actually, this isn't as big a hurdle for them, but did we end up conditioning that as part of the order of conditions?
Yeah, so it is in our findings. So I brought that up to town council as well. Be like, do they need to come up with Concom? So I'll follow up with that because I did put it in their ear. Like, well, if they have to amend planning, do they have to amend Concom? So I should have an answer for that. But yeah, it's on my radar.
Okay.
And then what about the other one on Turnpike Road?
250 hasn't submitted yet. I mean, that might be they also have to go through, like, everything has to go through planning basically. So all of them have to get amended historic permits from ZBA and planning.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe there could be a possibility in 6 months one of them comes to us, but I think it would only be one at a
Alright.
time.
Be great if they could be spaced out. They were all at once.
Yeah. Yeah, it got a little dicey there, but I'll keep you posted if anything different comes in. For
Great.
sure. But yeah, nothing immediate that at least I can see. I know they want to, but whether or not they do is another story.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Good
Bye.
night, everyone.
Night.
Bye.